Do you know what mitosis is? I think not. Have you ever wondered how you become a multicellular organism from the single cell you started out as? Well, this is largely due to mitosis. Mitosis is the asexual reproduction of a cell which produces an identical copy of the starting cell. Before mitosis begins, a cell must go through the cell cycle. The cell cycle is broken up into three phases, called the G1, S, and the G2 phases. This is the cell cycle. G1 is the first phase of the cell cycle, and in it, the cell and proteins and organelles within it grows to twice its size. After G1 comes the S phase. During the S phase, chromosomes, genetic material, and key proteins associated with replication are made copies of. The last phase of the cell cycle before mitosis can begin is the G2 phase. During the G2 phase, organelles and molecules required for a replication are doubled. Once the cell undergoes a cell cycle, it is ready for mitosis. Mitosis is broken up into four phases: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Prophase is the first step in mitosis. During prophase, chromatin coils into visible chromosomes. The two pairs of centrioles separate and each pair goes to a separate end of the cell. A spindle made up of microtubules begin to form, and the nuclear envelope also begins to break down and the nucleolus disappears. Once prophase is completed, metaphase begins. During metaphase, chromosomes line up across the center of the cell. Each chromosome is connected to a spindle at a point called the centromere. Once all the chromosomes line up exactly in the middle, which is called the metaphase plate, anaphase can begin. During anaphase, the sister chromatids split and each spindle begins to reattract the chromatids to separate sides of the cell. Once the chromosomes stop moving, anaphase is complete. Final phase is telophase. During telophase, the chromosomes begin to loosen into chromatin. The nuclear envelope also begins to reform around each cluster of chromosomes. The spindles begin to break apart and the nucleolus becomes visible in each nucleus. Even though mitosis is complete, there is one more step before the cells can fully divide. Cytokinesis is the final step of cell division. It usually occurs during the same time as telophase. Cytokinesis is basically the separating of the cytoplasm, which results in two identical cells. In animals, the plasma membrane pinches together, forming a cleavage furrow. It keeps pinching until one big cell splits into two. In plants, a structure called the cell plate forms between the two nuclei. The cell plate eventually becomes a cell wall, and the two halves of the one big cell become two individual cells. Thank you for watching my video on mitosis, and I hope it helped.